Everything we do is going to be about winning. Okay, we're going to learn to do things the right way, and that's the only way we're going to do them. Because if it doesn't help us, we're not doing it, man. That's just as simple as it gets. Win the Super Bowl.
That's
I
good.
mean it too. You know, one of the things that the only reason you become a head coach in this league, in my opinion, is to win. That's it. That's the bottom line. If you do it for any other reason, you're wrong.
Hey, football fans. Welcome to the Washington Command Center. This one will hopefully be short, but it's definitely going to be spicy. I got some venom left to spit at everyone after this week. The team, the coaches, anyone who defended the outcome of that game, fans or analysts alike, but most of all, the Zebra Gang, who have become our most hated rival in this new era of Washington football, an era where this proud franchise can once again command respect. And what better way to kick off this new era than subscribing here to the first, the real, the OG Washington Command Center, so you can find your way back to some of the most opinionated and ice-cold calculated takes on all things Washington Commanders. While you're at it, ring that bell, hit that like button. It's free to do, and it means a lot. Okay, I took the week to try to calm down from this, but hearing the takes from these clownalists out there, I've gotten hotter and hotter as the week has gone on over this game and over this season in general. First off, yes, the team played like garbage throughout the game. And for the millionth time, Taylor Heineke is not that guy. The offensive line is trash. The fact that Ron and Scott aren't willing to ride B-Rob Gibby in this defense to easy wins is the definition of insanity. But this isn't the most rage-inducing part of this loss. Because even with all those things being true, enough was done by this team after 4 quarters of subpar football to earn the right at a 2-point conversion attempt to force this game into overtime. But that opportunity was robbed not once, but twice in the closing minute of the game alone. That's not to mention any of the questionable calls or the missed calls from earlier in the game that could have completely reshaped the outcome. Just looking at the final minutes, there are 2 cases that everybody's talked about of the refs ripping away that opportunity. Before I talk about them in detail, I want to use this as a chance to lambaste these clown analysts out here, these clownalists, like PFF Sam Monson and a bunch of others not important enough to remember, with these extremely idiotic take that Washington didn't deserve to have the game called fairly because we played so badly early on that we deserve to lose anyway. This game is played for 60 minutes. Score is kept for 60 minutes. And if necessary, it goes to overtime to decide a winner. And any team should be able to count on that game being called fairly for its entirety. It doesn't matter what time in the game it is. By these clownalists' logic, the Vikings, they came back from a historic 33-point deficit this past weekend, should have had to face the second half where the refs refused to call penalties on the Colts while using extra penalties to make the Vikings have to score twice for any points they get. An analyst disputing the penalties and if they were good or not is one thing. But anyone that says we didn't deserve a fairly called game because of bad play up to that point should have to wear a red nose and big floppy shoes to work and have their analysis consumed for comedic purposes only. Now, on to those out there defending the calls or lack there of, legit calls. The PI call, the PI no call, was clear at any speed. So anybody, trying to say that, it didn't look like that, they're crazy. Regardless of what analyst is trying to defend his cousin, godson, nephew, whatever. Anybody that says that isn't clear is lying. And they're clearly biased. And, should have their integrity questioned. Right along with the refs that didn't call it. Darnay Holmes was in physical contact in an impeding manner with Curtis Samuel at the point the ball was thrown, if not slightly before the ball was even thrown. Taylor Heineke was running that way, and as soon as he started looking at Curtis Samuel, Darnay Holmes freaked out, got all over him. It's in no way a bang-bang play. Curtis was between him and the ball. Holmes started playing through Curtis before the throw. He was pulling his arms, hugging his waist, running into his back. At best, as the ball was thrown. And far before the ball got there. He was holding down his right arm until the ball got there. At that point, he basically switched over to holding onto his left shoulder and then kind of posted off of him to keep Curtis below his jump point so he can now use his now free right arm to extend past, so Curtis couldn't catch the ball. Nothing that Holmes did while defending that pass was possible without, him physically moving and manipulating Curtis's body. Not only was it a textbook case of pass interference that every objective commentator and analyst has agreed on, but it couldn't have been more blatant and egregious. Since the ball, went there, drawing full attention of everyone watching, even if the official was, standing 10 to 15 feet away, tops, in full view, didn't see it until the ball got there, there was more than enough reason to call the penalty at the moment the ball arrived, with him holding down Curtis's left arm and posting off of him. There's no defense for the refs not seeing and calling this play. If the catch happened, it could have been reviewed. So I don't think this is any different. If every scoring play is reviewable, I think every defense of a scoring play should be reviewable too. If you want to make sure teams don't get points they don't deserve or miss out on points they do, you got to review basically everything in the end zone that doesn't sail out of bounds. Since we can't trust the refs to do their job without video aid. So they got to bring in video aid. We got to expand the types of reviewable plays and review all end zone plays from this point on. That's how little faith I have in these refs. The refs have damaged the trust that bad that I think that's the only option. And I think far worse than the no call and the pass interference, and possibly even quite sinister, is what has been, has to be viewed as a predetermined touchdown removing penalty and a flat out deception from the ref to Terry McLaurin. For you to accept the illegal formation penalty on Terry McLaurin as valid after watching Terry in isolation and hearing Terry's post-game explanation, you have to believe, to support that penalty, you have to believe that Terry asked the ref if he was lined up, which you clearly see on video. The ref told him no, which Terry admits. You see Terry then move forward and ask again, which you also see on the video. For the penalty to be valid would mean the official said he still wasn't good, but then Terry decided to ignore the ref after the second time, now having confirmation from the ref that he still wasn't good, so he'd be committing to taking a penalty instead of correcting his alignment. This implies that Terry purposely drew a penalty with the game on the line. If you're going to believe this, how does that make any sense? Fox Sport rule analyst, former NFL vice president of officiating, and former XFL head of officiating, Dean Blandino, reviewed and confirmed exactly what was going on here. He explained that it gave no advantage, the purpose of illegal formation rule, he explained that, and that it was not a foul from where and how Terry lined up. So not only was it a frivolous penalty to remove points, to accept it, you have to believe Terry is a blithering idiot or a liar that is trying to purposely sabotage his team. It makes no sense whatsoever. Or the more likely case is that the official was trying to sabotage our team. Because regardless of the rule, there is something extremely sketchy about the ref telling a player he's within the rules before immediately penalizing him. I mean, if there's something crooked going on here, like I think, my money is on the refs. There's way more evidence that these refs are crooked than Terry is incompetent or a liar. Just go back and watch the Dallas game closely. All the drive-killing penalties on us, how they ignore Dallas committing more egregious violations. Watch them call something on us and ignore a more blatant instance from Dallas. They took possessions from us, gave them to them. It was the most ridiculous officiating I've seen. It was worse than this game. But everyone is finally stepping up to say something now with the playoffs in jeopardy. We've always had a problem with the officiating, but this season has been on another level. It's never been this bad. Something has to be done. And us Washington fans need to make a big enough deal about it, a loud enough ruckus that something gets done. You know, we got off to a good start at the beginning of the week. The whole community was on it. But it's fallen off as the week's gone on. And that's what they count on. You know, the next game, the next week distracting us. But we need to keep it going. We got to get accountability from these refs. And we need to put them on blast until something is done. Because we're going to need fairly officiated games if we want to be winners in this new era of Washington football, an era where this proud franchise can once again command respect And there's no better way to kick off this new era than subscribing here to the Washington Command Center, so you can find your way back to some of the most opinionated and ice-cold calculated takes on all things Washington Commanders. I hope y'all are still having a great holiday season. Please remember to hit that like button, ring that bell. And if you listen this long, I love y'all. Peace.